Hello and welcome to the end, the finale, the capstone of a story that has been written over the past 5 episodes and will come to its conclusion today in the sixth and final episode of Three-City Revamp. We are going to pull out our fangs one last time. We're going to dig into the narrative throat of this spectacle. But before we do that, let's introduce everyone who is involved in this cavalcade of storytelling one more time. Let's kick it off with Krifu. Hello.
Hello, hi, I'm Krifu Bernal, pronouns he, him. I'm playing Peta Kun, Toreador. I don't know if I'm pretty sure that came, but yeah, as I was saying in our group chat earlier, carrying a gun and being back in Liège is giving Peter flashbacks to his Anarch days. And who knows, maybe he'll wild out a little bit this evening.
Curious to see how that will show itself. Curious also to see if someone who's very well equipped tonight will have to use that equipment. Jen, hello.
Hello, my name is Jen Vaughn. My pronouns are she, they, and I am playing Josette Pointu, also she, they, a Malkavian vampire who currently lives in Liège and is strapped to the gills with blades of all size, from dirks to daggers, and is ready to use them on a certain harpy who is now hurt one of her coterie.
A certain harpy indeed. But there's also people who are interested in what's beneath this church you're in. Toto, hello, what a coincidence.
Moin, as we say in the north. Hi, I'm Toto, and I am playing the last Tremere in the region because the other one just left. So, we'll see if I get to stay the only one, or if there will be none after this episode. Hopefully not.
The stakes are high, and they're especially high for a finally coterie member, Aida.
Hello, my name is Aida. My pronouns are she and her. I have been and will be playing for one more night Grietje de Graaf. Pronouns are also she and her. She is a classic dominate ventru who is familiar with stakes, tells people to stake themselves, and they just do it. It's a thing that happens a lot around Grietje.
We see if that happens again tonight before Grietje meets her end. And I think I completely skipped myself. Hi, I'm Markus, pronouns are he, him, and I am the storyteller of this fantastic bunch of characters. And before we go into our final session today, a few words of warning. We are playing Vampire the Masquerade 5th edition, which is an adult game with adult themes, and these themes are often dark and not very nice. The characters these fantastic players portray are, unlike the players, nasty people and do bad things. There's also moments where we delve into bits of content which might be uncomfortable for some people. This content includes violence, strong language, blood, psychological horror, body horror, manipulation, and ghosts. If at any point through your viewing of this episode you start feeling uncomfortable, step away and treat yourself to something nice. Take care of yourself. We'll be still here when you're ready to continue the story with us. Now, coterie, how about we wrap this one up and see how we revamp these three cities? Last time on Three-City Revamp, the coterie resolved a few complicated situations. Most of the coterie went over to Yasira's haven, where she was not alone, but together with Hannes. Hannes had been ordered to stake himself, but that still left the question of Yasira, what she knew, what she was involved in, and how the coterie would deal with her. After a little, huddle, especially between Chang and Grietje, it was decided to not have Yasira follow a similar fate to Hannes, but allow her to just leave the 3 city domains, so that Chang could have a chance to grab a few of her most valuable books and hopefully decipher what this entire ritual business is about. Yasira also left them an envelope with the name of a church in Liège, where they would probably find more information to resolve this mystery. While the majority of the coterie was dealing with that and already figuring out how to deal with a staked, tortured vampire, Josette was still investigating where that corpse of Grietje's toetje, her dessert, had gone, and she ended up with talking with a red-coated woman called Vera. Even though Josette tried to put on her best mask of many faces, this mortal seemed to be well equipped to pierce through it. And while she took a ride with them, pretending to be an American exchange student called Tilly, it was revealed that Vera was onto her, and things became dramatic. Josette was able to fight herself out of the police car she was in, rushing over towards where the rest of the coterie was, getting that staked, tortured Hannes into the trusty Kangoo, and head over to Liège, heading to this church, the Église Saint-Jacques. With a quick stop at Josette's haven to both store Hannes and gear up for what might be the final encounter. And the start of an encounter it truly was. Coming up to the church, seeing already in the parking lot Holger's car there, the party entered the church and did indeed meet the Nosferatu, who was trying to pull off one final gambit here, but apparently also tried to distract the coterie. Ghostly voices spoke to Chang and Josette, urging them to continue to seek what might be below, what might be in these catacombs below. And Grietje tried to use her old reliable, the powers of dominate, but before that could take hold, Holger's hand had manifested terrifying claws which shredded through Grietje's defenses and left her terribly harmed. And it is at maybe almost this moment that we pick up. We're actually going to travel a little bit back in time first. About 10 minutes ago, not too long ago, to a point where Holger was still alone in this church. And he's looking down on his phone, looking at text messages. The contact name, it won't ring any bell to any of us here as we look at the screen, but the context, the words in the message, might. Can't be involved anymore. Very much onto me. And I made a promise to Chang. You know the final steps. It's basically running itself once you pull those off. Holger takes one final look at that message. Looks towards the door at the side in one of the alcoves of this church. And he smirks. His smirk is the only thing we see underneath his hoodie. We see this vast row of shark-like teeth. We don't see, hidden in the shadows of his hoodie, the concerning frown that has formed on his forehead. And as we go one last time looking at the phone screen of Holger, the camera zooms in on it, and it zooms back out as his phone falls out of his pocket, as he lashes out at Grietje, ripping her with his claws. And we're back in the present. Grietje, you just took a terrifying hit with these claws. Your clothing is shredded. You see parts of your undead form is leaking this vitae, this version of blood that is in you, and it's already trying to force itself back into the state it is used to, into this stasis it has, but that will take time. It might be perhaps the first time in your existence that someone got such a hit on you. And Holger stands there, claws still out, black as the night, Josette is close here. Josette, you're seeing this happening. You see what Holger is pulling off here. What is it that Grietje and Josette do in this moment?
Well, Josette will pull out one of her dirks on her thigh and like try to grab Holgar by from behind and hold it up to his neck while saying, "Écoutez-moi, petite merde. Listen here, you little shit. You don't hurt my friends, okay?"
Beyond coughing up blood and looking briefly confused, but mostly annoyed that, I'm leaking. My clothes are shredded. You touched me. I absolutely I want to dictate how this harpy is going to have his last night. So I'm gonna try to mesmerize.
Let's go.
Is he indeed held in place?
Yeah. Does that help?
Do you want to try to hold him in place, Josette?
Oui.
All right. Well, then we're first going to need from Josette a little roll. Can you give me a strength plus athletics?
Mhm.
And I'm going to roll Holger's strength and athletics and see how many successes he gets on that. Well, it's none. And you get one success on that roll. And you're basically he's still a little bit staggered, maybe even surprised by how well that hit with his claws got in on Grietje. And you use that moment to take a good grab and good hold on him, keeping him restrained for now, which creates an opening for Grietje.
As I don't move in close, where I've learned my lesson, and I just turn and glare at him. And I'm going to click to mesmerize. Do I have a modifier for just holding Holger in place?
Take a 1 die modifier to it.
I'll take it. Roll
5 successes. But he can still roll to resist, if I'm not mistaken.
He needs to do intelligence plus resolve.
Intelligence plus resolve. He's a smart cookie. Most of this dice pool comes from his intelligence. And he gets 3 successes on this, which is less than your 5 successes. What do you mesmerize him to do?
I will also make a rouse check.
Please. Success.
I succeed and too busy to think about feeding right now. Holger, we could have been allies, maar here's what I want you to do. The good hunters, you're going to go and distract them. You're going to lead them on a different trail, your trail, and you are going to die trying to take them out. You will die trying to take them out.
You know that your powers are taking hold of him. You know that your words are already worming their way into his subconscious. He is compelled, he's mesmerized to do this. But he still has the choice to look with this disgusted expression at you. And he almost just spits out the next words. Weißt du, I've always thought you were just so full of fucking shit. You are...
I don't see shit that is coming out.
You know,
Kijk, ik
the
kan er
two
binnen
of us
kijken. Ik kan see
two
inside.
of us are so much alike,
Hmm.
Grietje de Graaf.
Hmm.
We both like to hide within the shadows of someone who sits on the throne instead of sitting on it ourselves.
Oh, then we might not be as alike as you think, Holger. Now, weg. Doei. Remember, you take them out and you die trying, far away from us.
Josette lets go and pushes him away. Oh, mangez mon couteau, or eat my knife. She sort of adds the tiniest cherry on top.
The onyx black claws slowly retreat into his fingers. He cracks his neck a little, and he pulls down his hoodie, just revealing his full head. You just see this. There is no nose there. The cheekbones, the bones literally protrude out of the skin. There are holes in his forehead, on his cheek, where you can actually see little bugs and insects crawling there. There are just a few wisps of hair on this furthermore completely bald head, and his eyes have this bright yellow as a color. And with his hoodie pulled down, he just walks out of the church and says, "Oh, you want me to distract them?" He speaks so loud, his words echo in the church. "Dann werde ich ihnen noch eine verdammte Show geben." And he just wanders out of the church.
How do you say juicies?
While that was happening, while we saw Josette take hold of Holger, Chang, and Peter, you briefly noticed that there was violence happening there, but as well, you also noticed how quick Josette and Krietje had that under control. Would both of you continue down into the catacombs beneath the church?
You know, this silent conversation, checking if he's still up to go downstairs while stuff is happening upstairs, because I will go.
I think he definitely hesitates, but there's like a soft shake to his head. If he would, I don't know if he would, if he can grab your hand and like hold your hand as like we move further deep down into the basement.
You feel like she freezes for a second, not really that used to this kind of intimacy, but grabs back, kind of like squeezes your hand a little. And as we walk, I let Peter take the lead for a second so I can use my premonition.
So as he's leading her down the stairs, he's holding her hand with his left hand. With his right hand, he reaches into his blazer and pulls out that pistol and just kind of with his thumb flicks the safety off.
Chang, can you give me that roll for your premonition to see what you might glean in this moment?
Pool size 0 and difficulty?
This is actually interesting, and I'm going to explain in a moment why it's interesting, but your difficulty is 1 at this moment.
Oh. I have a lot
That's
of
3.
resolve.
That is 3 successes, and you truly do. As you are led down these spiraling stairs by Peter wielding his gun, you open your mind to any glimpse of premonition, anything that might feed you information. And as you do so, as you've done before, open your mind to it, you are struck by the flood of information that comes in. The world around you becomes once again monochrome, but Peter, who's right in front of you, turns from a physical being into nothing but a pale orb of light. You can still feel his hand, you know you're holding him, but it's almost as if you adjusted to a different frequency in which Peter doesn't show up. And you see these images, these ghosts, moving by you down the stairs as if you're not there. You see this vague, shadowy form of a person being led down here, followed by another vague, shadowy form. And then you hear an echoey voice. Yasira, you hear her speak. She says, "Just make sure he's restrained. And I have the instructions written down in the documents down there. I will prepare everything. You basically only have to pull the trigger, 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 trigger." As if a record stutters. And you look down the staircase past this orb of light that Peter currently is, and you can see the end of the staircase leading down to a basement room, the cold flooding over you. And you see this door at the end of the stairs in the basement, and you just see words written on it with blood in in Latin, in French, in English, in German, in Dutch. But all these words, for your mind's eye, they translate to this always repeating mantra. The thrones of three never remaining vacant. The thrones of three never remaining vacant. The thrones of three never remaining vacant. And as all of that floods in, as you get this sense like you're going in the right direction, but at the same time, you're going to someone's death. The colors return, the cold recedes. Peter is right in front of you again, and you feel this terrible shiver going down your spine.
Chang almost stumbled, stops in her tracks, almost falling to her knees.
Chang, alles gut?
I know where he is, but shit, we gotta be. I'm not super sure he's still alive. We gotta be so fast right now. Okay. Before we do anything between you and me, do you still want to return to everything how it was before? You know what Jasira said. You know what is going on. You know that the thrones and that our princes, they all knew about this. They knew that there's this magic going on. I can't promise you what will happen if they're not on the throne, but things will change, and maybe change is good, but maybe change can be also really bad. And I'm gonna put my fucking trust in you for now because I really don't know what to do. So tell me, what do you want to do, and what will happen to the thrones? Because we have to put someone on them if we keep everything as is. That might mean you have to step up and sit on one of them.
Then step up I will. Chang, if there's one thing I know that I've been taught and have learned through all my decades of endless night, is that the traditions must be upheld. It is what keeps us alive, or lets us survive.
Yeah, sure, they kept us alive and surviving, but they also kept us shackled, but we don't have time for this, so fine, we'll go with it. We'll keep it as is, and we're gonna get down there, and he's gonna be restrained, and we might have to undo that. So I think I know the way, and I grab Peter and I stumble back to my feet, and from walking kind of cautiously to running.
Peter, at this message of speed and urgency, rouses his blood and will activate fleetness. A little worried. I'm already at 3 hunger. I'm at 4 hunger.
That is so far the highest hunger anyone has been in this story.
But it doesn't. So as his nerves get the better of him, the beast urges him forward, inside, faster, faster. Go now. Power. Rule. Take.
And with that word, take, we switch back upstairs to Grietje and Josette.
Good. Okay. We moeten naar beneden. We have to go
Wait.
down.
Tu es blessé? Your heart. Oh, do
Yeah.
you? And Josette looks at her own wrist. She's like, "Do you need?"
No offense, maar not my taste.
I would prefer not to. But she's like, show me, montre-moi.
I think you would just see like
Yeah.
shreds across her front where Holger dug in. Is there mechanically something I can do about this?
You can make a rouse check to try and heal some of the superficial health damage, which
Yes.
currently is the only kind of damage you have, which is the superficial one.
Please. No, I failed.
No matter the result of the rouse check, you do restore 2 points of superficial damage, but your hunger increases as well.
And Hrit is just like, not my favorite flavor. Let me think about some flavor. She starts like almost wetting her lips and concentrating, as I would imagine some of the flesh starts stitching itself together. It's still in a rather grave, nothing about vampires are healthy, but I think Griche is not leaking anymore.
Josette also whispers the names of the masters, like Rodin, Bernini, Picasso.
He was an asshole, Mar.
Artemisia Gentileschi. Gallo.
Goed gedaan, Josette. Goed gedaan. Fuck, I hope they know what they're doing down there.
They don't. We should go. They know us.
Josette, if David is down there, and David being also someone who doesn't know what the fuck they're doing, how sad would you be if David doesn't make it or survive? You know, good faith effort.
I would be so sad.
I would also be very sad. And I would feel better if Liège was under more trusting leadership, even if temporary, if you want to fix that later. I have seen a person who takes command, takes charge, and just acts. I think this is the right kind of leadership. Maybe it's something you see in your friend from Maastricht, especially after hearing that Casper was maybe running away. That's not so good.
We could talk later. We should go help them.
Okay.
I can see slightly through your veil right now. Always cute.
Come. And Creature will stumble up and clack her heels down to where Chang and Peter rushed off through. Mar, well, actually, hold her left. I don't hear sirens or anything in the background. Do either of us?
You don't hear anything yet, but if you're paying attention already, you do see that lying on the aisle between the pews is a phone.
Bucket?
Maybe Holger dropped it here.
I'll pick it up. Gepakt.
Screen lock. You don't know how to unlock the screen.
Make the most unbeautiful face Creature can.
Josette tries to bring her teeth in too to make more teeth. Like, is it working?
It's not working.
Put it in my pocket and we'll keep going then.
Josette goes, no, wait, I have the thing. And she's like, hand me the phone.
Oh, that can you well do. And I give it over.
Josette digs the nails of her left hand into her palm. And then as a little bit of thick, syrupy, coagulated blood come out, she drags them over her face to reveal the unfortunately familiar face of Holgar. And then goes turns to the phone and goes, do we think he is this he's this not intelligent? And then holds it. Can she get in?
Oh wow, what a solution. Well, you got to give me a rouse check first for that mask of many faces.
So, took me a second. I was like, fingerprint, we don't have.
Do we?
One more joining the higher hunger club.
Nice.
As Grietje sees how your face turns into this copy of Holger's, and you look at the phone, and there's like this little icon that shows that like the facial recognition is trying to do its thing.
She frowns. Smiles.
Doesn't seem to pick up. But you think for yourself again, while this is an admirable way to solve it, as a Nosferatu, Holger is probably familiar with the uses of obfuscate and has a few tricks of his own against this. But you still have the phone, and who knows what treasure trove of information can be gleaned from it later.
Maybe if David is downstairs, you having this guys can unlock some answers. Come, let's go.
Peter, Chang, the two of you are standing in front of this massive door at the end of the hallway, at the end of the staircase, once you move through a short hallway. And you can already, once you're down here, you can hear steps approaching from upstairs. And quickly you hear the heels of Gietje coming down the stairs. And the two of you are standing here in front of this door, just the two of you for now. There is nothing written on this door, nothing like what Chang saw in this premonition. It looks like a very regular and currently locked door as well. So the two of you are still here while the rest of your coterie is still coming down.
Peter isn't capable of standing still at the moment.
Yeah, I probably notice.
And as soon as we stop in front of this door, he like looks over at Chang, looks at the door, and then we'll just move forward and push it open.
I was still holding hands.
Yeah, but he's been, even though you've been leading the way, he's like
Yeah.
almost
Yeah.
like a dog on a leash. Like,
Yeah. And I grab him and pull him back a little, but know that he's stronger than me, that I probably can't go against the strength anyway, and instead let go of the hand and would just take my dagger I got from Josette and slice open my arm to feed my Vitae to Peter. But I don't like, it's just a pretty small cut. Like, I'm trying to keep it as small as I can. And
Chang,
I just like push my arm to his mouth. I don't even wait for any. Just drink. Hold back as good as you can. We need you clear-minded, okay?
I'm torn. The beast in him wants to push in because there's opportunity there.
I see
But
him hesitating, and as he does, I add, fuck, I'm so young. I'm a Tremere who doesn't really, I can't even blood bond you unless we do this
no,
a
it's
thousand
not.
more
That's
times. It's
not
fine, just take it.
because it's like there's the smell of blood in the air, that his hunger. It's like
Yeah.
the beast is distracted momentarily, and so I think if I could, Marcus, roll a resolve check on this.
Absolutely.
I think if I fail the resolve check, that's me ignoring Chang's advice and her help and pushing forward. But also, it also includes the hunger, and so if there's a chance for a bestial failure or a messy crit, which could change this situation.
I do indeed think that this is a role that would call actually for a willpower roll, because we are going for trying to resist a hunger frenzy here. And if you are going to start drinking from Chang, you're going to roll willpower. If you succeed, Peter will be able to stop himself after just drinking one hunger worth of blood from Chang, and Chang's hunger will increase by 1. You basically have a fair trade. If you fail, you might drink a little bit longer, lowering your hunger, but increasing Chang's. And if we are getting into, well, bestial failures, messy criticals, there will be some dire consequences. Are the involved characters okay with these risks?
Yeah.
Difficulty?
3.
3 successes.
Exactly 3.
Almost.
Exactly.
Well, I guess there's no hunger dice on a willpower.
No.
Okay, so he nods and goes and sips at her wrist and will lower his hunger by 1.
And Chang can increase her hunger by 1. And as this transpires, a Peter who is still driven by the fleetness of his celerity power, the movements may be a little bit, well, even for the regular human eye, faster. You drink. And as this happens, arriving on this scene of Peter drinking from the wrist of Chang are Josette and Grietje.
Weer echt Peter.
C'est quel enfer. What the hell?
He pulls out dizzyingly fast a handkerchief from the front of his blazer and dabs at his mouth. Finally, endlich. Are we ready?
The two of you would see Holger with me as well.
What the fuck?
Stepping out of the shadows, but wearing Josette's outfit?
And body, yeah. Josette does the head shake and the face like melts away, but her eyes are very dilated when she comes back. She can smell Chung's blood in the air.
Yeah, I
with
closed
her
that one
hacker.
up. No.
Talking about the smell of blood in the air. Thank you for mentioning that, Jen. With the four of you here right in front of the door, all of your noses twitch at the very strong smell of blood creeping out from under the door in front of you. I think we're at an average hunger level of 3 right now in the coterie.
I'm
Ik
at
kan
2.
wat eten.
I can only do so many.
The door, normal brass-looking doorknob.
Wooden, looks sturdy, and if any of you would have checked the doorknob, it also seems locked.
Yeah, Peter, like, as soon as he saw, like, Josette shook her face free, would have turned and immediately tried the door because he's still got that hyperactive energy.
Oh, a door cannot stop us. I'm sorry. Are you ready? Vous êtes prêts?
I step back and let the guy, the muscles break the door.
Grietje also steps back. And in the meantime, she'll also explain, I sent Holger to hopefully distract the hunters.
And have him.
He will make a valiant sacrifice on our behalf.
How are you doing?
I am angered that the current princess had let it get to this situation.
What happened to Josette? She seems...
I'm fine. I'm just hungry again.
Josette, come.
All right, move. Bouge.
Can I try and aid?
I'm gonna let Peter use his shoulder while I use my legs.
How many dice would that give Josette?
Strength plus athletics?
Athletics, yeah. It's going to be
4
strength.
dice.
4 dice. So, Josette, you can make this roll of strength plus athletics, and you can give yourself 4 extra dice.
Thank you.
And then give me that strength plus athletics roll at a difficulty of 3.
Yeah. It's a
Okay,
big old door.
it's a cherry oak door. Okay.
Gorgeous.
4 successes. You're doing great tonight.
Yes. Josette
Josette-
roundhouse kicks this door.
Full force after Peter already shouldered it a little bit. Like, with this strong kick of yours, the lock snaps out and the door creaks open into a darkened room ahead of you. There is, however, right next to the door on the other side, there's one of these very old-fashioned power buttons, like these knobs that you turn to turn on the light.
Josette clicks it with the hand.
I'm always broken.
You click it, you hear the sounds of the lights coming on, bing, 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 revealing a gruesome sight. At one point, maybe this room in the basement was some small storage room for the priests of the church. Perhaps peripherals for ceremonies were stored here. But now, this room is covered in dark red symbology. Occult symbols in circular form are painted all over the floor, the walls, and the ceiling. They look like diagrams, vaguely reminding maybe some of you of astronomy charts. And for Chang, what stands immediately out is that the center circle is exactly the same as the one in Weilen. It's precisely the same composition. It's the drawing that you talked about with Yasira, and every stroke on it is exactly the same. But now it's the centerpiece of an entire pattern of these occult symbols. In the center of this circle is, again, an old mattress. But now it is not the Prince of Maastricht on it. It is the Prince of Liège. David Lilieu lies on that mattress.
He
His-
just rushes over. Liliu! Liliu!
As you rush into the room, crossing these boundaries of magical symbols, Grietje, you for a moment feel as if something tries to grab your ankle, but if you look down, there's nothing there. As if something just brushed by your ankle, but it's not there anymore. But as Grietje runs off, Chang, Josette, you see Grietje running in there, and you just see the briefest flash of a ghostly figure lying on the ground, trying to reach out to Grietje, but just reaching through her and then vanishing. Grietje, you rush over to David, and as you come close there, now fully illuminated by this pale and very unnatural electric light from the ceiling, you clearly see right through his chest, exactly in the middle of his chest, there's a stake. Not just some wooden stool that someone improvised with, but this is a finely carved stake, and carving into it more of these occult symbols with a faint red taint to them.
Good. I think before all of you see Grietje, just for all her complaining earlier in the evening about moving Hannes, she starts using the mattress to start trying to drag David from the center of this sigil. She's just trying to, in her mind, remove the triggering element of this old magic
And you just start dragging the mattress.
with Liliu on it.
You take a good hold of one of the corners of the mattress and you start pulling, and as you pull, you start smirching up one of these circles. And the lights go off.
Good. Someone turn that on.
Josette heightens her senses immediately.
Heighten your senses. And you just start, as you tune in to your heightened senses, you just hear this choir of whispers all around you, as if a full classroom is just wildly whispering, coming from all sides. Chang, you also stand here in the dark, and as you stand there, you start seeing shapes in the darkness. There's just this 24 ghostly figures surrounding Grietje right now as she's dragging the mattress in the darkness. They're just standing still. They're staring at her.
Chang, are those Ree's voices? Or are those,
Yeah, they're. Fuck.
Le Fantôme?
Stay with Grietje. She might be in danger if this keeps going. Peter, we gotta remove these sigils, and I'm gonna use my Shape of Sanguine Sacrament that allows me to shape blood into shapes or images. And since I'm not using my own, I don't have to use a rouse check since that's not my blood. And I am going to one hand is like manually removing, it's just like on the floor like this, while the other is like dabbing onto the floor using my Shape of Sanguine Sacrament, so I can like remove two at once, kind of. And
Awesome. You don't have to, I would indeed agree that you don't have to do a rouse check since it's this is clearly drawn in blood. You know this, you've seen this before, but I would still like you to make an intelligence plus occult roll to see if you can reconfigure it into the right shapes.
I also have theology might not fit.
Well,
Speciality. I mean, I'm
It-
encouraged.
you can give yourself that extra die. And how about you've studied the core symbol here as well. You'll get an additional die from that as well. So you have 2 extra dice for this roll.
Difficulty?
This is a difficulty 4, though.
Peita's got with his free hand, he quickly pulls out his phone and turns on the flashlight.
Turning on the flashlight. All right.
What the heck?
Potential bestial
No.
failure.
Potential bestial failure. You do have the option to spend willpower.
I will.
Reroll.
How many can I get to reroll?
You can get 3 to reroll.
I will.
I will power through this.
I will power.
Which is 1 additional success that you get in there, and that's 4. You do avoid the bestial failure in that way. And as you start using the blood all around you, it happens in the moment that Peter turns on his flashlight. And we now see, with the light from the smartphone, we see these strands of blood moving around Chang in the air as they're repositioning themselves. Some of them actually flying by Grietje, like right by your head, trying to come back into position as you keep pulling that mattress. And Grietje, while you pull the mattress, you suddenly feel this cold touch on your shoulder.
Niet mij aanraken, ik ben bezig. Don't touch me, I'm busy.
You feel the cold seeping into your shoulder.
Good. What's going through Creature's head right now would be, what would be the etiquette of princely succession?
The etiquette of princely succession.
Of course.
That is a complicated matter, but I'm assuming, and please correct me if I assume incorrectly, you're asking this question to see, like, how in this situation could we transfer the title from David over to someone else?
Is this something we need David's consent for? Is this something Creature could convince David to do? Wil je leven of wil je prins blijven? For example, do you want to live or stay a prince?
The polite thing and the correct thing, according to your etiquette, would be to
Not.
give David at least a chance to be aware of the situation and see what he as current prince would do. However, you also feel this sensation of something cold reaching into you. There's weird things happening. And the question is, do you have the time for this? And on top of that, do you know the parameters of this entire ritual thing? Would that still count? Is there something else here? So it's a complicated situation. And Grietje is aware of the options, and she has to make a choice.
For now, she's still dragging Liliu's body further away, unless a ghost is literally trying to stop me somehow.
You also, Grietje, you don't see any of these ghosts. You just feel these cold sensations. But Josette and Chang, you see that these 24 ghosts keep coming closer and closer at Grietje. And some of them are already like reaching out to her. It's there as if they're trying to reach out to her warmth, but then finding that Grietje doesn't have warmth and slowly recoiling again from her.
I'm working on it. Just help her. Help her get them out of here. And I was like, as I'm like on the floor, like literally, it's like body on the floor, just kind of like half scraping stuff, half trying to keep my shape of sanguine sacrament going with the help of Peter. And I just like from the side of my eyes, I can see the ghost things happen. It's like, and I call over, they can't touch it just yet. Just get him out.
Peita's looking around, keeping his phone shining on the scene in the middle, but like has the gun up and is like looking behind him, not seeing, not knowing, not understanding.
Peita, as you look up and around, there is one thing that does catch your eye here in the darkness, just a brief glimpse. And Josette, it's the same thing that sticks out to you at this point. Earlier, when you were in the Bonnefanten Museum trying to get the body out, you saw two apparitions. There was one ghostly figure who actually kept repeating a line to you, and then briefly afterwards, you saw a shadowy figure standing there in the corner. Josette and Peter, both of you see this shadowy figure. And Peter, could you briefly describe what your sire Delara looks like?
What the fuck, Marcus? Delara is a smaller woman, not super short or anything, but not of like a terribly tall stature. Quite lean, thin. She has long, dark, wavy hair, and typically is like usually wears like a smoky eye. Her dark eyebrows are thick. She has a darker complexion. She is of Turkish descent, and she's got a nose ring.
It's perhaps the nose ring that captures your attention when you see it, Peter. And you, Josette and Peter, you both see this figure like blurry outlines, as if this appearance of Delara isn't fully in focus. And she's just there for a moment, looks around, her expression looks confused with a hint of anger in it.
Delara?
And as you say that, Peter, she turns to you, eyes go wide, and she starts moving to you. But as she moves towards you, her entire
He drops the
form
gun to the floor and begins moving towards her.
You run towards it, a gun cling, cling on the floor. We hear the sound of the mattress still moving, the dripping of blood being put back into place by Chang. You run towards this apparition of your sire, and as you're almost close enough to touch her, she dissolves into shadows. And the last thing you see is just panic on her face. As Grietje, you're basically at the door now with the mattress, while Chang is cleaning up after you, like putting the sigils and symbols all back into place as you're like doing this last pull through the door with a staked Prince of Liège out there. And you're now out in the hallway. What you don't know is as you go out of the hall, Josette and Chang see how just these 24 ghosts are all cramped up close to the door as they are trying to get out of here. But the moment they try to go over the threshold, one of these ghosts reaches out with his hands, and you see the tips dissolving into shadow before the ghost itself just disappears.
Could Josette use her power for where the shroud thins to maybe push Chong into the direction of the best sigil to reform, if there is one, to help close the door that exists right here?
Yes, that's one of your Oblivion powers.
Mhm.
Yes, can you give me a Wits plus Oblivion to see if you can point Chang into that helpful direction?
Mhm. Difficulty, or does it matter?
2.
2, perfect. Okay.
4 successes.
Josette rolls her eyes up to the ceiling, and if someone could see, like a blue smoke sort of rolls out of them and spreads around the room as she attempts to find this place where spirits may enter the area.
You turn your head towards the ceiling, and with your vision adapting to this shroud, the threshold between the realm of flesh and the realm of spirit, you see two images layered on top of each other. You see the realm of flesh. You see Chang busy using her thaumaturgy to clean up the symbols, closing the holes. And where the symbols are fixed, you see these tears in the shroud closing up. No more of the spiritual leaking out. But you look up towards the ceiling and you stagger for a moment. Now with the vision into oblivion, into the shroud layered over it, the ceiling is not there. there's just this whirling maelstrom that you see as you look up. And you notice that the ceiling was also covered in some of these sigils, but apparently with Chang using her powers to realign the blood, some of the blood from the ceiling was drawn down, and some of the symbols up there have been broken up. If there's one place that Chang needs to fix up, it's the ceiling.
It's just like, Chang, I don't know, but please move up. Please. Adesso. Out, I mean. The ceiling.
She looks up and is like, are you kidding me? How did they get up there? Okay, fuck. I stop working on the sigils I'm working right now, and oh god, I hate doing this one. Okay, fine. No one speaks about this. And she's going to use the clinging of the insect.
Cool.
And she does not super like it because she kind of hates being considered any but human in at least appearance, and a lot of things that vampires do as well morally bad, gray as they are, it's still human. But this one, very, very not. And yeah, so clinging of the insect is that I can gain the ability to cling to walls like grotesque insect or spider. Uh it's I think a rouse check.
It's just a rouse check, and you can then climb indeed walls and surfaces as if you were a spider.
Yep.
Hunger goes to 3.
So we're gonna have a snack after this. Let's get dinner.
Oh, and also, Josette, can you also give me a rouse check, please?
Oh god.
I think
Yes,
your oblivion power demands it.
it does.
We're so fucked.
Her fangs get longer and longer.
Josette, the very smell in this room. Oh, all the blood. Oh, these things to consume. You don't have a beating heart, but the way the beast is all up in your throat right now makes it feel as if your heart is beating there.
She drops to her knees to try to contain it, but ends up just starting to lick the floor and the blood that's there.
Chang, you climb up the walls.
Yeah. I climb up the walls. I pretty much just like can't do anything while I'm here because I have to keep my hands and feet on the walls. So that means I pretty much can't defend myself if anything attacks because I will fall. So I'm there on the wall, up there, and use my shape of the Sacred Sacrament to rework this sigil and just like rearrange it. She hates feeling hungry, and this is the first time in a long while she has felt this hungry. But this is nothing compared to what Josette is going through.
I think the scene is potentially made a lot more confusing and chaotic with Peta now, like, not in the middle of the room, but running in that direction as he's spinning around, the light flashing like across the walls, shouting, Die Lache, komm zurück, wo bist du? Come back, where are you?
Yeah, makes me look even less human, being up on the floor with shining lights.
And to make
Peter-
it even more bizarre looking, in the eyes of Josette, who's still attuned to these tears in the shroud, Josette, as you're crawling over the floor trying to grasp some of the blood, if you would look up, you see Chang attached to the ceiling, working her sorcery, pulling in blood to fix the sigil, but you basically see her sitting in the middle of a dark maelstrom, surrounded by occult symbols, defying gravity while she's up there.
Josette is starting to lose her grasp on reality as her hands grasp the staked corpse of David and she pulls him to her mouth and starts to drain him. She's probably also on the mattress that Gretchen has been dragging at this point.
Oh, Josette, what do you? Oh, Prince David. Oh, nay. Oh, nay. What erg? Oh, nay.
The teeth sink into David Lilieu,
Oof.
Prince of Liège. Josette, you take a deep sip. You feel the vitae of this bruja going down your throat. But there's still so much hunger. You take another deep sip, draining in more and more and more. You can actually see David's physical form growing thinner with every sip you take. And there is, at one point, you feel as if you've scraped every drop out of him. But your beast, fangs in this bruja. By what right is he prince anyway? By what right would he rule this domain? By what right does he live? You are at the verge of committing the act of diablerie, a heinous crime amongst the kindred, but also a ticket to power.
Josette. Long live Prince Josette. Niet je vergeten. Don't forget your friend Grietje.
Krifu, would you briefly remind us what the rules for diablerie are?
Gladly. First off, the process resolves as follows. This is directly from the core book. First off, the Diablerist loses 1 point of humanity. They must then roll a contest of humanity after their loss, humanity plus their own blood potency versus the victim's resolve plus blood potency. Every success gives the Diablerist 5 experience points to immediately spend on increasing blood potency to a maximum up to the victim's blood potency or on disciplines known by the victim. Bruja, potence, make Josette super stronger. Should the roll fail, the Diablerist loses an additional point of humanity for each success by which they failed.
Okay. So,
And-
first of all, yeah.
Sorry. And if the victim was of a lower generation, the Diablerist lowers their generation by 1. So, which is likely if David's a prince.
So, Josette, you can, of course, immediately lower your humanity by 1.
Did. Yep.
And
Welcome to the
then,
club.
Humanity plus your blood potency.
so that's a total of 7 successes. David gets his resolve plus his blood potency.
Yes.
Lang leve Prince Josette. Lang leve Prince Josette.
That's just 3 successes
Lang
for David.
leve Prince Josette.
So 4 in total for Josette.
And that means for each success, 5
So-
XP.
Sorry, whoa. So yeah, total of 20 XP to spend either on increasing your blood potency or gaining disciplines that he has.
Let's pocket that XP for now. But Josette, you pull this last bit out, and you don't pull out any more vitae. You don't pull out any more blood. As you pull that last bit out of David, in your head, you hear his screaming voice as it just, his existence sinks into you. Your hunger is reduced to 0. And as you hold David, you already feel his body dissolving into ash, his existence undone. And just you and your coterie remaining. And that's where we're going to take our brief break. We'll be right back to see how we will wrap up this mess. Take this chance to stretch your legs, check if there's any creepy rituals happening in your basement, and be back in a few minutes. See you soon.
Bye.
Welcome back to the second and final part of our final episode. The first half was quite the storm. Many things happened, all in that one basement underneath a church in the city of Liège, Belgium. We've seen past the veil. We've seen an act of diablerie committed. I wonder what else we will be about to see. We come back to a coterie the next night. In the time since the events in Liège, during the day, news reports about a police chase having happened in Liège come out. Talbot Chase, multiple officers were involved. There was quite some property damage. Some of the officers are still in the hospital. And eyewitnesses report of the person being chased moving at great speeds on foot. There are already on the socials videos of people capturing footage of a bald man who must have been in a terrible accident. There's already conspiracy theorists at work on the forums talking about how this wasn't just some criminal, this was something else. There's some stand-up comedian on Dutch television making a joke about this. But one person is not joking about it as she takes all of this in. Vera Lennartz reads the news reports, looks at the notes, sees the pictures that were taken. Amsterdam and Paris will not like this. She won't be going to Nice anytime soon. The day flies by, the sun sets, and we find ourselves back where it began in the city of Aachen. We are, of course, not in Holger's apartment. We are at a different place. Peter, tell us where we find the coterie.
We are in the city center of Aachen, on one of the Einkaufsstraßen, the shopping streets for pedestrians only, in a building that is seeing much renovation and still has much to come. But you can tell as we see Peta inside wearing a white button-up shirt with a couple of patterns on it. Sort of looking around this space, we can see the beginnings of what it might be. A club. Cool. Chic being the descriptive terms for it. But of course, it's hard to see all of that underneath the sort of like plastic sheets kind of hanging where the renovation construction work is still happening. But he has pulled two chairs into this space, two very nice sort of like Art Deco style chairs with sort of golden knobs at the top of them, next to each other. One for him and one for Josette.
Is Peter currently still alone at this club that's being renovated? Or do any other members of the coterie make their entrance?
Josette would definitely be joining earlier than normal, with the weight of responsibility that's been placed upon her shoulders.
So we're
But-
standing there together, and I turn to her. I wasn't sure. Obviously, you and I require thrones, but there must be a third. I just don't know who it belongs to yet.
Josette sort of looks around and gives him a little half smile. I suppose it's whoever brings their own chair, no?
Probably the first time he's laughed in this chronicle. I suppose so. I don't want to disappoint anyone.
In all my years, I've found that you usually don't make everyone happy. So you have to hold to your own code.
Then I will grab a third chair, and we shall see who sits in it by the end of the night.
I do love a game.
Musical chairs,
Mm-hmm.
4 players, only 3 seats.
Could get interesting.
As long as it's not dangerous.
Josette's fangs pop out. She cannot believe. You don't want it to get dangerous. Okay.
We've had enough danger, Josette.
No, c'est vrai. It's true.
And thank you for the gift. The pistol will be a nice insurance in the nights to come.
Well, I have plenty other objects, if you wish, especially ones that have been dropped on the ground. But from prince to prince, happy to give you what you need to protect yourself.
He shakes his head. Anyway, our court should be arriving soon.
Chang might be might be the one to arrive latest of the coterie, pushing the arrival date as much as she can as she stays in her haven trying to recreate the sigils in her notebook, trying to dot everything down that has transpired in the basement, trying to make sense of what happened, trying to just put everything in the notebook that she didn't have the time to think about while everything happened. So knowing, okay, Peter was looking for his sire, there were not just the spectral forms, but some kinds of shadows. What happened with David, how to explain what happened to David to maybe Casper if we have to, probably making a note to just leave that to Kriche and only just stepping in to fill the details if needed. It's kind of making a plan to how to proceed, but also this, I gotta put everything down to not forget and to look back at it later.
While you're doing that, Chang, just as you're making your final notes, your doorbell rings.
I put down my papers and get up, look through the
The door spy.
yeah,
Yeah.
door spy to see who's there.
There's no one in front of the door. But through the little hole in the door, you can see that something's lying in front of the door.
I frown a little and quickly open the door to see what's there and grab.
It's a small leather-bound notebook.
Oh. I take it.
Do you open it?
I go back and close the door. And yeah,
You start opening it, and you immediately recognize that it's all in Yasira's handwriting. And there's even a little note stuck in the front pages, also in her handwriting. And it just says, once again, thank you. I'll be in touch, no matter what that Ventru says.
I look at the time, knowing I should left my haven probably 20 minutes ago, and I still haven't. And put the notebook in the bag of one of my my shelves and destroy the note. Make a mental note to copy said notebook and also get rid of the original notebook, but have a copy in my own handwriting of it, and leave my haven to go find my new prince.
Chang makes her way towards the disco in utero. Is Grietje already there?
Well, since Chang took the spot of being last, Grietje does like being a bit passionately late sometimes, but I wonder if she would have been there before or after Casper had arrived.
Excellent question.
That's the wild card here, isn't it?
Casper
Because-
has not yet arrived.
Because Grietje probably would not have been back to Maastricht. It's a bit of a hot bed right there right now. So if by the time she's there, Casper hasn't arrived, then she goes in. Josette, Peter, wat een mooie. Mooi. It looks lovely. I think I see the potential.
There's still quite a bit of time and money required. This place, it's seen a lot of different phases in the last few decades, but I hope to return it to its original glory.
Oh, just financial is an issue. Oh, Petertje. How simple. And look, and Grietje just walks over it and sees the third Art Deco chair. Is like, and you can what Peter doing? And she sits down on it and she's like, nee. No, I'm thinking there could be something nicer.
Josette that's Gotcha.
Yeah?
Before you get too comfortable,
Hmm.
I have a little gift for you.
Oh, well.
Pop up first.
Grietje does stand up and curiously goes over.
Josette reaches underneath her throne and stands up and gives her a small black box. It's pretty flat, and yeah, she lets you open it. Yeah, and you see something you might know. I'm not sure, but it's the Diadema d'Estrelles. It's a little star, gold and jewel encrusted diadem that was part of the Portuguese crown jewels. And then she says, I think it would look very good on your head.
Kroon. Oh, what mooi. What... It's beautiful, Josette. And thank you for making it gold.
I know it
Silver
goes
is not
best
my
with it.
color.
No, it does not look good on your skin tone.
And Grietje would just sort of literally hang around the side of Josette's throne. And maybe it's that position that Casper finds her in. And if when Casper walks in, Grietje would be like, hoi, and goes back to chit-chatting with Josette.
Chang would probably arrive just shortly after and probably before Casper arrives. I
Right.
mean, I'm late, but just like 40 minutes.
And you kind of get the idea now that all of the coterie is here that if Casper is still coming, he's trying to pull a bit of a power move by having you wait for him. But about an hour after the agreed time, Casper Hoyers enters the soon-to-be reborn disco.
What's he wearing?
This tall, almost 2-meter tall man is still wearing that jacket that you gave him, Peter. He's put on some new
Blurred.
pants, some new some new shoes, very beautiful ones. Has a nice little blouse underneath the jacket, but it's still the one jacket that you gave him 2 nights ago. He wanders in there, seeing the 3 chairs, these thrones put together, and the coterie being there.
Kaspar, willkommen. And Peter goes to him and clasps his hands and smiles.
He smiles at you in return. And then he looks back the coterie and he says, "Where is David? I was told the Prince of Liège would be here."
Kaspar, Peter's smile fades. David is no more.
What happened?
Josette stands. The Prince of Liège is here.
Long leve.
Peter nods.
By what right does she claim praxis?
By right of being the only kindred in the Camarilla left in Liège.
So that is how princedom works now. We just give it to whoever is available.
How else would you have it? Our numbers are few. We have lost many.
What
No.
exactly happened with David?
We were cleaning up the little mess that you allowed yourself to get into, the 3 of you.
The
You remember how we found you?
Yes.
David was in a similar situation, but they proceeded way faster with him. You would not have liked that one. Looked way worse. Bigger basement, but aside from that, everything else was way worse.
Peter is trying his best to be as regal as possible. We followed the traditions. The 6th tradition had been broken, and because of the destruction of David, we chose to punish he who destroyed David.
Who? Did you see who
Holger,
destroyed?
he was behind everything.
Peter, could you give me a manipulation plus subterfuge, and because Casper is bond to you,
Mhm.
I'm giving you 2 extra dice on this roll.
Cool. I won't ask for the beautiful benefit then.
That's just aesthetics.
Yes. I will ask, was I able to feed on Michel yesterday when we got
Yes.
home?
Yeah.
So I will lower my hunger by 1.
Are the rest of us all equally stone-faced to lend credibility to this claim?
Of course.
Well, I prepared at home. It's like,
So
okay.
Subterfuge and manipulation, and a 2 dice bonus.
okay, 2 dice bonus. Okay.
Uh-huh.
I'll take it.
For a difficulty of 3.
Oh, that's a messy critical. I'm gonna spend a willpower and re-roll for 6 successes. So actually, I can't get rid of the messy critical.
Well, you can re-roll. The messy critical is because you have 110 on a hunger die.
That's right.
And 110. You can re-roll the 10 you have on there, and that makes it no longer a messy critical.
No, I think this goes against his beliefs. Josette broke a tradition of the Camarilla by destroying David, and Peter is covering it up. So I'm more than willing to take a stain on this, but I will take a willpower and reroll the 1 die to try and boost this to 7 successes.
Okay.
Just I want to be absolutely sure that we
Right.
cover our tracks as much as possible.
Okay,
And
so
that's another success. So I have 7 successes total.
Wow. And it's a messy critical.
But it is hurting Peter's soul to do this.
And you would actually find yourself what is happening inside of Peter as he is doing this, kind of going against his beliefs and still trying to perpetuate this lie, a lie on which the future of these domains will be built on?
So Peeta's currently at Humanity 8 because his discipline and devotion to the traditions of the Camarilla has been a balancing act for his entire undeath. He's broken the Masquerade before by telling his victims that he's a vampire because he needs their consent to feed. So he's been dealing with this, but he makes up for it by upholding the traditions as much as possible. There is he can feel something tearing inside of him as he lies to Caspar, who is someone that he, growing up as a kindred in this region, always looked up to as an authority here. And as we saw in the first session, he immediately bowed down to Caspar. And so but it's because of his coteries support and because of his support of them that gives him the strength and the motivation to do this.
Caspar Hoyers, the current Prince of Maastricht, takes in your words, looks at you, and you see nothing but trust on his face, rubbing in how you are deceiving him and yourself right now. He looks at the rest of the coterie and then says, "Natuurlijk was het Holger. Of course it was Holger. Is he also linked to that mess in Liège that I saw in the news?"
Yes. That was a part of our punishment.
Well, then your first acts as princes of this city, and he looks at Josette and Peter, is that the three of us will make sure that we find Holger and bring him to final death as well. And that we finally kill the flames of these hunters coming for us so that a sense of normalcy and stability can return.
How is it, lieve Prince, that these hunters were operating with such impunity, even in Maastricht?
I have worked hard to keep my domain safe, filled every leaking hole through which trouble could come leaking in, but my colleague princes apparently failed in their duties. It is most terrible what befell Isidora, but she was a pillar of this community, and when that pillar fell, a chain reaction started. I have done my part. Are you questioning my right of princedom?
I am concerned for Maastricht, lieve Prince. I have been personally targeted. My haven is no longer a safe place for me. Where moet Grietje dan? Grietje who has done nothing but worked for the stability so that good, able people are on the throne, and who set herself at the front lines. Ikke. Jeetje, up front. Oh, how do we ensure that such kindred can maintain order in our region?
You can aid me in maintaining order. I fear that my own child was not the only one plotting against me. And I could use someone who keeps me informed about things.
Peeta goes and sits in the middle chair next to Josette. And then the chair to his left is still empty.
Josette makes meaningful eyes at Gretchen. And then turns to Prince Caspar. What do you think is going to stop the people around you from turning on you again? What do you think you've learned from this?
What I've learned from this is that our cities are entwined more than me and my former colleague princes ever thought they were. And that means that with whoever is filling the thrones in Aachen and in Liège, we have to have a tighter grip on things. We cannot
Tighter
let the leash
grip.
slip.
Yes. Is that what you were doing when you were on the road to Weilen? As Creature walks behind the thrones, kind of putting her finger on the top of the curve of Josette's. No dust. Does the same to Peter's chair.
Sometimes
No
you need to
dust.
retreat from a battle before you can fight it.
Uh, Liebe Prinzen, Josette and Peter, is this good counsel?
Ah.
Jen, the player, was gonna make Krifu go first because he clearly has to make his choice.
The problem is, Peter from the outside looks like the picture of princely power, and internally he's crying. Like, where? No, he has no idea how this is going to play out, and is afraid of the power struggle that is building between Kreacher and Kaspar.
Chang hasn't said anything the whole time. It's not really. It's just waiting to see how this plays out. Doesn't really. It's kind of like interesting that she neither spoke out for Casper nor for Gretchen.
Yeah,
Like,
I've been
she's.
thinking that too.
It seems almost like she's weighing her options and walks over to the three seats, thrones, but walks past Gretchen to stand behind Peter and just puts her hand on his shoulder and just like slightly squeezes.
Chang, Josette says, what do you think? Do you think someone who leaves a mess at home and lets it start to rot should still be allowed to clean the house, let alone own it?
Do I think, what do other kindreds think? I think you're pretty aware that I don't really care for the political plays that are going on here, and I, for one, care to keep things going, working. And as we all know, this doesn't work if there's no one sitting on it. And to me personally, who of you, and she looks at both of them, like at Gretchen first, then at Casper. Because, Casper, with all due respect, you had a terrible coterie. I mean, you had to get rid of your own child, which is honestly messy in its own way. But also, Gretchen, how come not a single person in Maastricht, not another kindred? Who do you have there? So really, the question is, who of you can build a system that can keep us safe, keeps our three cities safe? And neither of you have really made really good points about it yet. It's mostly just a fight of ego. So, as a kindred of Aachen, the Princess of Aachen's choice is my choice.
Thank you, Chang.
I have kept Maastricht safe for decades under my rule. I have made sure that it was a safe place for our kind to exist, and I have always aided the neighboring domains where I could aid them. Now you upstarts come in to fill the holes and think you can play at Prince? This woman, and he points at Grietje, has not even the capabilities to do what I am able to do.
She pays her due, though. Last time I heard you still owe her.
If we want to stand around here and debate who is prince, I might as well leave and show who is.
Caspar, for now, you are still Prince of Maastricht.
Grietje does move the chair slightly back and sort of angles it so it's pointing towards Peter and Josette, symbolically saying, you're the prince, but you're deference.
What we are, and there's like maybe like a scraping sound that like, and then Peter continues. What I think we are saying is there are so few of us here, and perhaps it would be best to start anew with a coterie of princes that trust each other, but in no way would we would be at a loss without your aid and experience. Without you here, we wouldn't know the first thing to do.
Peter, can you give me a manipulation plus persuasion roll?
Is there any way Josette can help him as she chimes in, Prince Emeritus?
Can Grietje turn on awe and be extra beautiful?
I think the combined power of the coterie being so really literally having Peter's back here, I think that alone would give a 3 die bonus to the roll. This is a tough one. You're basically trying to
Ask him to retire.
To retire.
The thing that needs to happen in politics around the world is get the old people to just fucking
I said
step
Prince
down.
Emeritus. They would still be reached out to for advice, but
Make
4.
it a difficulty 4. Yeah.
Okay.
It's a big
All right.
one.
I've got lots of willpower, so
Yeah.
5 successes.
5 successes.
I'm gonna roll willpower. If I can get a messy critical, that'll just be awesome.
Love it.
Because I have a 10 on a hunger die, so it's possible.
Yeah, it is possible.
Okay. 6 successes.
6 successes.
Not messy, unfortunately.
The prince takes in your words. He looks at the chairs, and especially the one that Grietje has just moved, angled to the other 2 chairs. He stands there silently. All of you can only hear like a few distant sounds from Aachen's nightlife, so slowly picking up. And then he looks at you, Peter. You remember what we discussed the other night, he says?
The offer still stands.
He takes your hand, looks at you. I will take you up on it. And I shall... He lets the hand go, looks at the empty seat. Or, well, is Grietje in it?
Grietje is hovering behind it.
Hovering behind it. This coterie is something different. I'm not sure if I like it. But I also don't detest it. And he takes a few steps back. You will require my counsel, Grietje.
We all will.
You all will indeed.
bien sûr, of course.
It would be lovely, though, if we could all be real friends. Can Grietje try a discipline on Prince Caspar?
Ah!
What are you going to do?
In a world full of nails, be a venture.
I'd like to completely rewrite Caspar's memory. I'd like to try.
We got the lid on the box, and then Gretchen's just like punching it.
This would be
Is it the
forgetful mind.
To add or remove an additional memory, the victim recalls the edit's vaguely foggy iterations. Holy moly, okay. Ah, yeah, you can try. So that's a manipulation plus dominate versus intelligence plus resolve from the prince. Roll the way, creature.
I am gambling the entire throne on it. But
Absolutely.
I mean,
But
This
you
is-
you only have to get more than 2 successes. That's all you need right now. That is 4 successes. So the difference, the margin is 2 here. You get to rewrite 2 memories.
Kicho walks around to the front of the throne, and as she does, she kicks the throne back into full alignment, facing forward. Takes a lovely seat and crosses her legs. Just kind of leans forward and looks at Casper as her eyes flash red and notices the room is absolutely quiet. Casper, liebe Casper, I think it is wonderful that you have been a loyal, trusting friend who would never betray the successes of the 3 princes you see seated here before you. Of course, any sort of manipulations or shadowy backworkings were extensively done in our benefit, and any other would be immediately quashed and brought to our full attention. As our trusted, dear friend who would do anything to serve Maastricht, Aachen, and Liège. Doch?
The words for anyone who's sitting there, it just seems as if Grietje is just telling this out honestly. But you can tell by the look on Casper's face that things are shifting in his head. Things are being rewritten. He keeps a stern expression and then follows up with, of course, considering what has been happening, a little bit of honesty between friends will help.
My vertrouwde vriend, of course. Yes. Just
Don't-
Peter.
Don't
Kijk.
push it, Grietje.
I'll
She's
go
only
back
got
to the
one-
black box that I received from Josette and crown myself.
Of course she does.
Prince rolls his eyes at that. We'll have to hold proper court soon.
it's true.
It's very supportive of you, Casper.
There are other kindred in the region who must be brought into line.
The Anarchs and the Liège need to be squashed.
I know that there are still one or two other of us in Aachen and
Holger
vielleicht
needs to
auch
be
Maastricht.
found.
Holger's contact. We have leads. Casper, I'm sure you can be very supportive in this role. The hunters need to be terminated. Wat bezig? Wat druk? How busy?
Also, we might need to look into your second child.
Oh, Ramoneke.
Casper, it's quite the honey-do list for you. Honey, do this.
He's,
honey, do that.
he scoffs at that remark.
Maar that's what a trusted friend does.
Peter stands and steps towards Caspar and once again clasps his hands. Perhaps you will accompany me tonight so that we can follow through on our agreement.
Yes. I could use a different surrounding.
Good. Then court is adjourned. Thank you for joining me here in Aachen, my colleagues.
À tout à l'heure.
Lang leve Prins Josette. Lang leve Prins Peter. To mij
Et
ook.
toi aussi.
Lang leve Prins Grietje.
Grietje. Ten zachte G. Nog een keer, once again.
Grietje.
Grietje.
Nee, niet Grietje. Grietje.
Chang, I have a
Godverdomme.
gift for you as well, okay? And Josette hands Chang a little book. She found an enchanted book on ghosts.
Oh, you did not.
Yes, I did, of course. Thank you for all your support in my journey learning.
Apologies, Grietje. Dutch is like eine Kindersprache for me.
Dat is wel beter dan de Saxisch praat that everyone else does.
To be fair, both sounds the same to me. German,
They are.
Dutch. It's kind of...
Hij is wel mooier.
Is it with this argument that we're fading out from our newly crowned princes of the Three-City area? Princes who have gained their thrones as consequences of bloody events. A coterie that has helped each other onto thrones that seem to have physical and metaphysical meaning. Aachen, Liège, and Maastricht are not yet entirely safe. The hunters are out there, and ancient magic lingers in the depth. But for now, things have changed. Things go a different way. Things have been revamped.
Je said the thing.
I was waiting for it.
Of course.
There is one final scene somewhere out in the woods. Sounds of shoes on twigs and leaves crunching underneath. A smartphone flashlight on, illuminating the way ahead. And finally illuminating a cliffside with a cave entrance. The entrance is closed with iron bars and a gate that a heavy lock hangs on. We see the smartphone light going over the lock. We see the camera twist to show who is holding it. Yasira is holding the smartphone in one hand and a small little notebook in the other. We see her look at the notebook. Camera shifting over her shoulder, showing on one page tunnels underneath, and on the other, writing in the language no one of us understands. She closes the notebook. The light goes off. And that's where we end the Three-City Revamp. Give it up for each other.
Prost to the new princess.
Prost.
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 Prost. Santé.
Santé, cheers.
Chin chin.
Oh, well. 6 episodes ago, this was a ragtag band of vampires, and now 3 out of them have princedom in this quaint area in the European borders.
True. Although Chang would be offered the seneschal position for Aachen, which it may, of course, is the only two Kindred here. It's not like it's, but still,
It's about the titles.
yes.
Well, this was a fantastic story. Thanks to this entire table for bringing it to life, for bringing fantastic characters with ambitions, motivations, and just fantastic concepts to this story. I have been, for a long time, looking forward to two things: playing Vampire the Masquerade again, and to tell a story in the area I grew up in. And it was fantastic to have this table specifically to tell this story with, to blend languages, to hop from town to town, and bring all of these things together that I really enjoy. And I want to thank all of you for coming along for this ride. Thank you so much. Please give yourselves a little applause because this was fantastic. Thank you so much. Before we head into the dark night, the dark unknown, let's give one final round for everyone at the table to tell us who they are. And I'm going to start it off. My name's Markus, pronouns are he, him, and online I'm known as the Chindividual. When I am not telling dark stories about vampires usurping power, you can find me on the internet as the Chindividual and on YouTube also as the Chindividual, where I make videos about TTRPGs, mostly focused on Pathfinder 2nd Edition right now. Check my videos out. Give me a thumbs up, maybe a subscription, and follow me there. And then I'm going to pass it over to the one and only, the Toreador, the new Prince of Aachen, Krifu.
Thank you, Markus. Yeah, thank you for running this. It's been very interesting. I definitely didn't have my sights set on princeship at the beginning. No, definitely not. But Peta is, yeah, he is a pushover sometimes, so he will do what he's told. I, however, am not so much of a pushover. Sorry, where am I even going with this? You can find me on social media at Krifu Bernal on Blue Sky and Instagram. You can also go to my YouTube where I'll be releasing a few cool different videos, some vampire related stuff, some other stuff, some solo streams. And I'm also the GM for the Twilight's Edge Pathfinder 2e campaign on the Tumble Through podcast.
Tumble through!
Yes, Tumble Through. And we release episodes every Tuesday, so definitely tune into those where you can see some of the other people here, or hear them at the very least.
Thank you very much, Krifu. Jen, the best and new Prince of Liège and our resident Malkavian.
Thank you. Thank you again, Markus. This has been fantastic. My first time being a Diablo-ress in a vampire game, so thank you to everyone for the help with that. Yes, and this excellent group. It's been a lot of fun to play with a little additional French language in the game. You can find me online at the Genya on social media. You can find my comics, video games, and TTRPGs over at Haunted Vault Studios. And based on today's date, you can head over to Drive-Thru RPG and find a new Brindlewood Bay adventure for those of you looking for something seasonal called A Very Merry Murder, when you'll find trouble at the Marché de Noël at the holiday market. So if you are into playing a bunch of grannies solving murder, who wouldn't you be? Oh yeah, go pick that up. Thank you.
Always a good time when you can be a granny solving murders. Thank you very much, Jen. And then going over to our Tremere, solver of secrets, and also just amazing thaumaturgy expert, Toto. Hello.
Hello, everyone. I am Toto. My pronouns are she, they. Some might have figured I am a Viet diaspora. First gen means I actually do speak Vietnamese, even though it sometimes sounds like I am a 5-year-old. Because you know how it is. The more languages you know, the more vocabulary it leaves you. I call it try again lingual. It was a pleasure playing with everyone, and everyone was being so patient with me. It's my first time playing Vampire the Masquerade. I had a blast, enjoyed playing it tremendously. And yeah, I did not expect 3 of us on the throne. But things happens, the dice roll the way they do, and Chang has a lot planned and things to research and things to do in the back as the three princes work out how to rule their domains. So yeah, I think Chang is pretty happy with the outcome as long as she gets to move as much as she wants in every single domain.
Where can we find you online, Toto?
Right. Plugging myself, stuff like that. I am a person on the internet. I You can find me under Totoroki almost anywhere. I am mostly on Blue Sky as well as on Instagram. You can also meet me at various conventions around Germany, and maybe, hopefully, we will also meet each other outside of Germany. I do hope that I can go to Dragon Meet maybe next year or the year after, because it just sounds amazing, and my fellow tabletop RPG folks speak so well about it, especially about the POC launch, which I think is a great thing. So hopefully I can join one day.
Very happy to have had you at the table, Toto. It was a joy to play with you. And last but certainly not least, the Ventru, the master of mesmerize, the influencer, the art specialist, and now also Prince of Maastricht, portrayed by Aida. Hello.
Hello, thank you for having me at this wonderful table. There was a bit of a journey to get to this table. You can find me on the internet as In the Pan on Blue Sky. I'm one of the co-founders of Euphoria, and Markus is a good friend of mine. And basically, if my really good friend who I know and trust says, I want to tell a story, my response is, how and when? And when he said, I want to do this sort of story, and I'd love there for it to be French speaking, Dutch speaking, and German speaking representation, I got nervous. I was like, oh, but that's kind of exactly the kind of thing that this sort of community was built to accommodate. On top of those linguistic requirements, it also had to fulfill that a table has to be representative of all of many genders, has to include people, ethnic minorities, POC representation as well. And that's exactly what we did here. And we got to tell a very local story with people who have lived in aforementioned countries or in those places that speak those languages. And this is what a European table looks like. A table full of immigrants. This table specifically, we are all immigrants or first generation. We are a mix of gender representations. We are a mix of POC. This is what a European table looks like. This is European stories. I am so honored that we could do this. Thank you for this experimental ride. And I think this is a blueprint for doing more stories like this. Thank you so much for taking a chance, breaking the mold, and for this kick-ass story.
Well said. Preach, preach. Thank all of you. And also thanks to Euphoria for giving us a podium for this. Thanks to Aida for not just being a player, but also producer and editor for all the videos that you see on there. Euphoria doesn't just talk the talk, they walk the walk. And I am so glad to having played on this channel. And if you liked what you saw here, stick around Euphoria. Look forward to other great stuff that's coming here, because at least I am very excited for what this community will bring. Thanks for watching.
Oh, it's
Put
over.
back your fangs.
Oh no, it's over.
Watch out for sunrise.
Mm.
And whenever you find yourself in the future in Aachen, Maastricht, or Liège, especially at night, keep an eye out for any of these lovely kindred. Stay safe, take care, and See you soon on Euphoria.
Tschüssi.
Kalimutan.
Bonne nuit.
Doei.
Doei.
Bisous.
Bisous.
Eens Loki. Oh, Krifu.
Haha.
Yay.